Hello, friends. This is today's noise on the Aaron Zero show, where we give you today's news, and hopefully, it's good news for you. So, the AI summit in Delhi, which has turned out to be a massive affair with 26, more than 26 countries, European countries participating, and other countries, has culminated in a possible AI joint declaration that seeks fairness and transparency for all nations that uh, use AI. And the theme is that they will not be dominated by a couple of companies, notably USA and China, that seek to monetize and control AI. And most of the governments, and particularly the Indian government, wants to use AI for healthcare, agriculture, government services, private services, etc. And it will speed up the progress in all those areas. And of course, a lot of development work is going to be done in that field. And uh, Mr. Ambani of the Reliance Company, one of the multi-billionaires of India, is going to be investing $110 billion over 7 years. And already work is on a data center in the Jamnagar area, and it'll have about 120 megawatts of power by the end of this year. And soon it will be aiming for 1 gigawatt and beyond. So there was, of course, a lot of traffic delays for the local people of Delhi because a lot of the visiting heads of state wanted to do sightseeing. So traffic congestion in the main areas and in the areas where there are monuments, etc. So that was the impact of the AI summit in Delhi. And but I think the outcome is going to be a game changer for all countries, including India and the so-called global South. And India hopes to be a voice for the global South and take it forward. And Brazilian President Lula also talked about the AI and that it should be fair and transparent for all, and it should regularize uh, the opportunities for all people. And of course, Brazilian companies are also hoping to invest in India or having business in India. And I believe there's already a, a possibility of, of Brazil making some planes for India. Embraer Group, I believe, they're going to make between 120 planes and 200 planes for some of the local carriers. Time only will tell where that takes us. And in other news, local news, the Supreme Court has decided to take the extraordinary step of sending judicial officers to review the special intensive review petition of the electoral rolls because apparently there's a trust deficit between the Election Commission and the government of Bengal, and they will be looking over the electoral rolls and probably be the final say on who gets to vote and who doesn't. And of course, Mamata Banerjee, the chief minister, wants to totally control the show by herself. I don't know. Maybe she thinks she's living in a different country because I remember her saying, I love Bangladesh. Well, Bangladesh is another country, it's not India. And if you're the chief minister, your loyalty is to India, not to Bangladesh. So, what else do we have? A local scrap dealer was very honest, taking away the scrap from a family's household. There was about 14 or 15 lakhs worth of gold he found in the scrap that the family had given him. So he took the honest way out and returned it to the family. That is quite outstanding for a person to do. And bravo for people who are honest in this life. And that really takes our country's name forward. In international news, what do we have? Well, the great fact is that Mr. Trump has lost his tariff trade ambitions. The Supreme Court of America has voted 6-3 and has called it illegal and unconstitutional, and that he does not have the executive powers to make those tariffs. $175 billion is involved. So it will be up to the lower courts of USA to see how they can process the refunds to various countries and importers and exporters, manufacturing groups. So as one fellow said, that it'll be one giant mess. But Mr. Trump, not to be undeterred, at a White House meeting, apparently called this decision by the Supreme Court disloyal, unpatriotic, and all the bad words that you can think of, because he's living in an alternative universe. And that's how it is. But according to Neil Katyal, a Indian origin attorney who's of course born in USA of Indian parents, who had pursued this case, says that it's a victory for the bedrock of American democracy. And the unusual part of this ruling is that three of the judges who ruled against Mr. Trump were Trump appointees. That is, Trump appointed them to the Supreme Court. So that is a great day in American democracy. And Mr. Trump, of course, has vowed to carry on and use other laws to punish the countries with tariffs. And apparently, India's tariff will come down to 10%, which is much better than 18%. And I guess the other countries in around the world will also stand to benefit from this uh, court-ordered tariff reduction or tariff disallowance, if I may say so. And it remains to be seen what Mr. Trump does because he's a man of the moment, so to speak. On the Iran front, Mr. Trump is still preparing for an attack to Iran and toying with the idea of regime change. And I think that's what he will try to do because the Iranians don't want to give up their nuclear enrichment policy, which they say they have a right to do so. And they would abide by all kinds of restrictions or laws or whatever the US wants. But I think Mr. Trump is in a mood to play president changer as he did in Venezuela. So it could involve an attack on Iran. And it might turn out to be quite bloody because I think the Iranians will really fight back with all their might. And it could leave the USA in a tight corner, so to speak. And disgraced Prince Andrew has had his house again searched by British police. And so the Epstein files still are reverberating, though one of the main accused in the Epstein files, I do not understand why they are not pursuing, interrogating her much more deeply. I'm talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the main partner of Mr. Epstein, who was the main provider of all these underage people. I think she should be thoroughly interrogated for a couple of weeks, and then you will find out the truth and you will know who did what and what. Uh, I do find it a bit surprising that they would wait for the files and this and that when you have one of the principal players in the Eppenstein scheme sitting right there. It's imperative to interrogate them thoroughly, and which of course Trump does not want to do because I guess he's involved, and so it is up to the lawyers, the courts, and the people to shout out and get it done, and really give great pressure to Mr. Trump to make sure it is done. Uh, then the truth will come out of all these grisly details and what have you. At the same time, India has joined some AI defense agreement with the United States called Pax Silica, I believe, and it's a collaboration between India, USA, and coalition of the willings, if you may. So it is supposed to be countering Chinese threats in the AI domain, etc. We'll see how it goes. And in entertainment news, what do we have? Well, you have the Milan Cortina Olympics. A lot of the medals that the athletes got apparently broke from the ribbons. And one of the winners in the women's figure skating, Alisa Liu, 20 years old, wears her hair in straight blonde and platinum locks, and she won a gold medal in the women's figure skating after the first victory for America after 2007. While the figure skater of Canada, Diana Duck, I believe, or Dudek, wore an Oscar de la Renta costume and a gown which costed $100,000. Also, all the athletes were tucking into the famous Italian food. I believe 435 kilos of pasta, and that pizza and tiramisu, which is a famous Italian dessert there. And so the Cortina, I guess, games are ending or have ended. And the women's half pipe snowboard jump event was an all Asian affair, won by a South Korean girl, Goon Hai or something like that. And the silver went to South Korea and the bronze went to Japan. So, all in all, a good, great going for the Milan Cortina Olympics. In other news, actor Farhan Akhtar, is going to play Pandit Ravi Shankar in a biopic on the legendary pop group The Beatles. It's going to be out in 2028. And he says he's very excited to play that role because he has grown up on that music and it through the good times and through the bad times. So the movie is going to be told by in a story form by each of the Beatles separately, and sort of will be joined up, I guess, as a biopic, and will be directed by famous director Sam Mendes. And on that note, also, a lot of famous Hollywood directors have not been given an Oscar. It is Oscar time now. And one of the most famous of them was Alfred Hitchcock, with all his famous suspense movies. You would think somebody in the Academy at that time, 1950s, I would say, would give him an Oscar or two, but no such thing. Quentin Tarantino, who says he's the best director, apparently got Oscars for screenwriting, but none for directing. Orson Welles, who was famous for the movie Citizen Kane, also has never received an Oscar, and the list goes on and on. But personally, I feel the Oscars or the Grammys don't really matter a lot because your art is your art, and if you're good in your art, it speaks for itself, and the rest is history. That's how I feel. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And actress Gautami Kapoor says she's going to be off the social media because of the various unpleasant attacks on her and her family. I totally sympathize with her. She's a gorgeous woman and should not be trolled or whatever that happens there. And on that note, we end it there. We wish you wonderful time. Subscribe by the billions. This is the Aaron Zero Show. Goodbye.